Canada saw one of its scariest events on November 8, 2010. Jennifer Pan's parents were shot. The Pan home in Unionville, Markham, Ontario, in Greater Toronto, was the scene of this heinous murder. The phrase kill-for-hire attack was closely associated with the case. Hello everyone. Welcome to our YouTube channel where we will be exploring the engrossing details of a cruel parricide case, a story that has gripped millions. There are a lot of mysteries surrounding this case, and as a result, there is a lot of interest in finding out what the true narrative is behind it. So without further ado, let's dive into the video and investigate the cataclysmic event. A Canadian woman named Jennifer Pan had her parents found shot to death in their home. Her mother died instantly as a consequence of this horrific deed, while her father lay in a coma for a long time. Sooner or later, the killer was apprehended when the police solved the mystery behind the killings. The murder's motive and identity were eventually solved by the authorities. Jennifer Pan, born on June 17, 1986 in Canada, is the progeny of Bich Ha Pan and Hue Han Pan, both of whom were ethnic Chinese refugees from Vietnam. Han, having been born and educated in Vietnam, sought asylum in Canada in 1979. Similarly, Bich emigrated as a refugee. The couple wed in Toronto and subsequently resided in Scarborough. Jennifer's ancestors had high hopes for their descendants and were rather demanding of them. Jennifer, who was enrolled in Fernando Baldacini's theory and harmonic classes when she was just 12 years old, spent most of her weekdays devoted to her intense figure skating training. Her dreams of competing at the Olympic figure skating competition were cut short when she injured her knee ligament. Mary Ward Catholic Secondary School was the school she attended, and she was a flute player there. Karen K. Ho, a close friend of Han's from high school, claims that Han was the prototypical tiger dad, and that Bich was his somewhat reluctant partner. Jennifer was picked up by the Pans after each session, and her extracurricular activities were watched over with great care. They were worried that her focus on her studies would suffer if she had any extracurricular activities, such as attending high school dances, and they barred her from having any romantic relationships. During the time her parents thought she was in college, Jennifer wasn't allowed to go to any social events. At the age of 22, she had never experienced clubbing, intoxication, a friend's cottage, or an unsupervised vacation. Jennifer and her friends all thought that this way of life was very limiting and controlling. Even though her parents expected her to do very well in school, Jennifer's scores in high school were mostly average, staying around 70% except for music. She made fake report cards to make it look like she was doing well in school, so her parents thought she was getting straight A's. When she failed her math class in high school, Ryerson University, now Toronto Metropolitan University, took away her early entry. She taught piano, worked at a restaurant, and spent her days in coffee shops instead. She said she had scholarships to keep up the lie, and she finally appeared to be in the pharmacology course at the University of Toronto. Jen also asked her parents if she could stay with a friend near school during the week. She was really living with Daniel Chikwang Wong, the man she met in high school. Wong lived in Ajax. He was the child of Chinese and Filipino parents. He sold drugs and was in charge of a Boston Pizza. He used to go to Mary Ward, but because he wasn't doing well in school, he moved to Cardinal Carter Academy in North York, Toronto. Jennifer got back in touch with Andrew Montemayor in the spring of 2010. Montemayor rejects the claim that he bragging about committing gun robberies while they were in high school. It is said that Jennifer offered Duncan $1,500 to kill her father at work. Duncan, on the other hand, says that she gave him $200 one time for a night out, but he returned it and turned down her request to kill her parents. At this point in time, Jennifer and Wong were back together, and the police say they planned to pay a professional hitman $10,000 to kill her parents so that Jennifer would inherit $500,000 from them. They planned to live together following the killings. Lenford Roy Crawford, introduced to Jennifer by Wong, is a Jamaican-born man whom Wong called Homeboy. Wong gave Jennifer an iPhone and a SIM card so she could secretly talk to Crawford. After that, Crawford got in touch with Eric Sean's sniper Carty, who recruited David Milvaganam, an associate from Montreal. Crawford lived in Brampton and Milvaganam, both in Toronto, while Carty, who had previously lived in Rexdale, was without a house. Carty was found guilty of a separate murder in 2009, but the Crown prosecution claimed that Milvaganam was also an assassin. Unionville, Markham, Ontario's Pan residence, was the scene of the murder. Before turning in for the night on November 8, 2010, Jennifer opened the front door and then spoke to Milva Ghanem over the phone. Rapidly following that, Milva Ghanem and two armed henchmen broke inside the house through the unlocked entrance. Wong and Crawford were both employed and had alibis, but the other two hitmen were not named by the Crown. Carty did not implicate herself directly in the attack, but she did confess to bringing the criminals to the house, choosing them, and helping with the plot. No one has been able to determine who set off the bomb. Intruders demanded all the money in the house, searched the main bedroom for valuables, and then led Bitch and Han to the basement, where they shot them several times. Bitch died right away, but Han lived through his injuries. The thieves took $2,000 from Jennifer and ran away. Jennifer said they had her tied up, but she was able to call 911. Han Pan was first treated at Markham Stouffville Hospital. He was then flown to Sunnybrook Hospital in Toronto to be treated in a trauma unit. First, police suspected that the family's wealth had drawn the burglars to the property. However, when they noticed that many things were left undamaged, their suspicions were further aroused. Pan was interviewed by the police for the first time the night after the killing. After coming out of a coma, Han Pan told the authorities that he had overheard Pan gently and amiably chatting to one of the attackers. During Pan's third interrogation at the York Regional Police Station in Markham, on November 22, 2010, she was detained. Pan admitted to hiring the assassins in this interview, but she maintained that she wanted them to murder her rather than her parents. William Bill Goetz, the questioning officer, lied to Pan and claimed to have software that could detect lying and that infrared satellites could monitor people's movements within buildings. Canadian law explicitly authorizes law enforcement to mislead suspects about evidence and questioning tactics. Goetz coaxed Pan into confessing by using the Reed approach. In North York, Toronto, on April 14, 2011, Milva Ghanem was taken into custody at the Jane Finch Mall. On April 15th, Carty was taken into custody at Milton, Ontario's Maplehurst Correctional Complex. The 10-month trial of Pan and her accomplices began in Newmarket on March 19, 2014, and it lasted for a long time. The accused have all denied any wrongdoing in relation to the first-degree murder, attempted murder, and conspiracy to murder accusations. The York Regional Police provided detailed evidence during the trial. Further proof brought attention to the peculiarities of the break-in, robbery, gunfire, and contradictions in Pan's account. We also learned more about Pan's confession about the attack and the pain she endured, as well as her obsession with Wong and her noticeable lack of true emotional reaction. There was a major discrepancy as Pan was not attacked, blindfolded, brought to the basement, or shot, which meant that someone may have witnessed the murder. Han's testimony further damaged Pan's credibility since it ran counter to her story. There were approximately 50 witnesses and 200 items presented throughout the trial. Pan Wong, Milva Ghanem, and Crawford were all found guilty on December 13, 2014, each receiving a life sentence with no possibility of parole for 25 years. In December 2015, Carty received an 18-year sentence after pleading guilty to conspiracy to commit murder. Carty expressed a desire to spare Han Pan from enduring another criminal trial. Pan's father and brother requested, and the judge granted, a restraining order prohibiting her from contacting her surviving family members, despite objections from the defense attorneys. Pan was also barred from contacting Wong again. Because of her parents' stringent restrictions and regulations, Jennifer Pan planned this horrific act to murder them. But the police inquiry revealed Pan's complex plot, in which she manipulated people and circumstances to carry it out. After much investigation, Pan and her accomplices were found guilty of the heinous crimes and sentenced to death. Because of the stunning details and the psychological insights it offered into Pan's narcissism and dysfunctional family relationships, the case gained a lot of attention. Comment down below your viewpoint and let us know what's your take on this case. And if you like our true crime-based video content, please do like, share, and subscribe, and click the bell icon to get latest updates. Thank you for watching and stay tuned for more videos like this.